Evans had written and was attached to direct a film about kids playing baseball in the 50s. For the classic film The Sandlot, Evans found Salt Lake City the perfect place to shoot the film. Houses on the east side served as the neighborhoods for the film. A private lot in Glendale served as the Sandlot. A Little League field just a few miles north in Rose Park served as the site of the film's baseball game between the Sandlot kids and the rich kids. Liberty Park was there for their post-game celebration. The film was released in 1993 and became a cult hit and favorite among Salt Lakers. In 2013, a 20-year anniversary celebration was held and much of the cast was reunited. The Sandlot was restored to how it looked during the filming of the movie, and the cast were guests at a Bees game. The film remains a beloved part of Salt Lake City history and a time capsule for the city in the 50s as seen through the lens of the 90s.
That's it for another episode of Capital City News. Remember, the best way to stay engaged is to stay informed. You can do that by following us on social media at SLCGov, tuning into Channel 17, or subscribing to us on YouTube. Reporting in from Capitol Hill, I'm Yusuf Mong. Oh wait, I have a joke for you guys. Two guys walk into a bar. The third guy ducks. The second one was me, but it's fine because the only thing that broke was my sense of humor. Okay guys, until next time.
While public transportation flourished in Salt Lake from the 1870s to the 1940s, the commuter era in the 1950s ushered a planning age dedicated solely to automobiles. By the 1980s, city administrators realized this paradigm needed to shift and began developing plans for light rail service in the city. By the 1990s, with the Olympics on the horizon, community members and city officials included in their master plans a vision to make light rail connect the airport with downtown Salt Lake and the University of Utah. Over the years, planners, city officials, and the mayor and city council used the vision from these master plans to bring light rail to North Temple and transform it into the grand boulevard full of diverse, mixed uses it is today.
When friends drink too much, even in galaxies far, far away, friends don't let friends drive drunk.
on the agenda, which is comments, and we begin our meeting with comments to the board. I would like to remind you that written comments might be submitted to the RDA offices via mail, at the P.O. Box 145476, Salt Lake City, Utah 84114, or emailing us at council.comments@slcgov.com, or by calling our 24-hour line at 801-535-7654. Thank you for joining us tonight. Before we start today, still not tonight, but we start, I want to remind everybody about our rules of decorum, which are in place to ensure our meetings move along well and help everybody feel comfortable sharing their comments. A copy of the full rules of decorum are available at the door, and our staff will post them in the Zoom link. If you would like to comment on the public hearing today, we are accepting comments in person and online through Zoom. Scott Corpendy from our staff will moderate our Zoom and will message you with any questions about the registration. The staff is handling many tasks, so please limit messages to technical issues and minimal information updates. If you do need to speak with our staff, please select Scott Corpendy from the list of participants. If you need to, you can also raise your hand in Zoom to indicate that you need some assistance from the host. Taylor Hill and our staff will be calling those who wish to comment based on the order we receive the names. If you are on Zoom, please unmute your mic when Taylor calls your name. We will now open our general comment period. Taylor, please start with our first comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There is one person registered. That will be Christina Robb, who is here in person.
We'll restart the clock. Thank you.
Good afternoon again. My name is still Christina Robb, and I do represent the East Liberty Park Community Organization. I'm here today to thank the council for supporting the Perpetual Trust and other land trust ordinances and ideas, because we at ELPCO are looking towards home ownership as the way to make sure that families, especially lower and middle class families, stay in Salt Lake in the areas that are being gentrified along the D5, D4 corridor. We're very happy what the council has been doing so far to make sure that these issues raised to the top of the list around affordable housing. And we want to stress that that you continue to look at the quality of housing starts in addition to the number of housing starts as you have done to this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else wishes to comment to the board? So we're not moving to item B, which is public hearings, but we don't have any public hearings, so we're moving on to item C, redevelopment agency business, and we're going to item C1, the approval of minutes. I need a motion.
Move to approve.
Mr. Chair, or second.
I have a motion by board member
Petro.
Petro. I need the coffee. I've been wishing for hours. By board member Petro and a second by board member Dugan. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All say aye.
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 So,
Aye.
So that's 6 with 1 absent. Now we're moving to C2, Depot District Stormwater Detention Relocation Project. At the table, we're going to have Ashley Ogden, Senior Project Manager. Hi, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I did have just one slide. There we go. Oh, man, I put the text on the wrong side. But Yes, this is a really straightforward item. So in September of 2020, the RDA board allocated up to $1.2 million for the acquisition of property and relocation of an underground stormwater detention system at 233 South 600 West, which is shown on the map on the left. This property was really important for the RDA to acquire because, as you can see, it includes land from an old rail spur that bisected two other RDA-owned parcels to the north and south. So we wanted to pick that up to combine them all and make a larger parcel. We were aware from the start that the parcel included a large underground stormwater detention system that serves private properties to the east. So we knew that the RDA would eventually need to relocate that system to make the site developable. In May 2022, the RDA closed on the property and we executed a development agreement that commits the RDA to breaking ground on that stormwater relocation project by November 6, 2023. And last month, the engineering division advertised the project for construction bids, and of course, they came back higher than anticipated. So we're here today requesting the release of $200,000 from Depot District funds that are already set aside for infrastructure improvements in the area. And that would fill the funding gap and allow engineering to accept the bid and execute a construction contract for this work. That's all I have.
Any questions?
Just the timeline on the construction. Does it?
Yeah, so bids are already back. We just needed to make this budget request to fill the funding gap. If that is approved today, engineering can accept that bid and execute the contract. And I think that we would be breaking ground as soon as possible.
So you could be working through the winter on something like this and have it up for next spring runoff season?
I actually don't know how long. It is a pretty minor project in the grand scheme of things. I don't think it'll take that long. We're just committed to breaking ground by that November 6th date.
Okay, thank you.
Do we need to take action on this right now?
It was my understanding it could be a straw poll, but I'm not an attorney.
So straw polling to support this. We show our feelings. Is that okay? Councilmember Mano? Okay.
Great.
You have your answer right there. Yes, it was 6. All of us, thumbs up. Thank you. We're moving to item C3, the resolution releasing funding for the Affordable Housing Initiative Perpetual Housing Fund. Following up. At the table, Danny Walls, RDA Director, and Tracy Tran, Senior Project Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the board, we appreciate the opportunity to be here today and speak with you. This item is for the consideration of a resolution approving the term sheet for a funding agreement with the Perpetual Housing Fund of Utah. This is for the revenue sharing and wealth building model of development. The initial investment utilizes ARPA funds for the acquisition of housing units within the initial project at 515 East 100 South. You as a board have an updated term sheet within your packet. I will turn it over to Tracy for a quick presentation on those terms and then a recap on what the changes are from the last time we brought this before you.
Great, good afternoon. So next slide, please. So just to give a quick recap. So the PHF of Utah, can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, a little closer might help.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so the PHF of Utah is a nonprofit housing organization with the mission of reimagining housing programs to share profits with project residents. The PHF will develop affordable housing units to serve those earning between 25 to 125% AMI, or the area median income. Through this model, 75% of the profits that would typically go to the investors of the development would instead be returned to the residents of the development as a means of wealth building. So through this profit sharing model, the residents would be able to share in proceeds in the following ways: through an annual rent rebate from a project's cash flow, at a time of refinancing or exit of a partner. Funds will also be available to help residents access a portion of their profits early for an emergency or a major life event. And finally, funds received could also be applied for a down payment to purchase a home through their partnership with the Rocky Mountain Homes Fund. Next slide, please. All right, so the RDA will support this wealth building initiative by infusing $10 million in the American Rescue Plan Act funds for the acquisition and development of affordable housing at 515 East, 100 South. The adaptive reuse of this existing office building will include at least 60 housing units, of which 60 of these units will be affordable to those earning 25 to 50% of the area median income. The overall project will also include additional housing, co-working, retail, and daycare space. Family housing with 3 to 4 units will also be included, and overall, this will be a significant opportunity to promote wealth building for Salt Lake City residents. Next slide. So as a condition of the $10 million budget allocation, the board must review and approve a final term sheet. So that's within your packet today. Here is an overview of the proposed terms. The parties involved are the Perpetual Housing Fund of Utah, LLC, and the RDA. The amount, again, is $10 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds. And there will be a 50-year deed restriction recorded against the property, ensuring that the PHF will develop 60 or more rent-restricted units between 25 to 50% AMI. Funds will also be dispersed in one lump sum to be paid as part of the acquisition of units subject to recording a restrictive covenant on the property and associated subdivision plat process. In terms of sustainability, the PHF will work to comply with the RDA Sustainable Development Policy, but may be waived if necessary due to the adaptive reuse element of this 515 project. The RDA is to receive 2 to 6% return paid annually every year. And as part of this agreement, PHF will commit to develop 1,000 additional units in Salt Lake City that will be affordable to those earning between 25 and 65% AMI. Next slide. So since the last meeting, the term sheet has been updated just slightly to include additional commitments for PHF that will commit additional $500,000 to fund assets beneficial to the greater neighborhood, such as retail services, child care services, and impact-focused office space. And with that, we're happy to answer any questions. And the item I just mentioned was the only item that changed from the term sheet from last month.
Board members?
I want to publicly state that the hype about Danny Waltz is not overdone and probably needs to be amped up a lot, because if you've tuned into any of the previous meetings, you know that I have had intense questions about this. And I don't know where Danny went, but I want to publicly thank him. Like, I don't take lightly what we're doing here. Thank you, Chris and Ashley, for wanting to step into this and do this for the first time for our city. But the people who we're doing this for are the people who need it most and are depending on us to not screw it up. And that means due diligence and eliminating as many issues as we know of at the front. And Danny finally was able to take, oh, there you are. I was looking for you over here.
I moved.
Danny, let me address you then instead of being awkward and looking at everyone but you. Danny, thank you for taking the time to really hear like the minutia of my concerns and finding answers that were in proportion to those. I feel really excited that we as a city are taking this step, and thank you for giving me the comfort knowing that we're being good stewards over public funds and investing in something that can benefit Salt Lakers for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you.
No more? Okay. Go for it.
Yes, I appreciate the whole teamwork on this whole project, and it is pretty exciting to move forward on this, because the wealth building and the whole idea of someone being able to generate wealth and have a place that's theirs is very exciting. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you for your kind words. I can't take all of that. Tracy has done the bulk of the lifting of this, and so I appreciate taking the time to talk through it and convey that information. But Tracy and Rachel have done a considerable amount of work bringing this before you, so I want to make sure we recognize that, along with Allison Parks in the attorney's office, who has helped us through and continues to help us. So thank you.
You have built an incredible team there, and I mean, I would like to say that this is an incredible use of these funds. Rescue the American Rescue Plan funds and the impact this could have in this city is huge. So I'm very excited to see this work, and and sometimes it takes us a second to wrap around our heads through this. And this is not a simple one, I think. It took a second for me to understand it fully, and I appreciate the time that you guys took to answer those questions and making us understand this and helping us understand. And so thank you. It seems like this is on this item. Thank you so much for this.
We are asking for consideration approval of the
action.
resolution that would release funds
Yeah,
and
we do
allow
need
us to
to
move
do-
forward with executing the funding agreement.
I need a
Mr. Chair, I move that we release the funds for the Perpetual Housing Fund of $10 million as outlined in the project.
Second.
I have a motion by Board Member Dugan and a second by Board Member Mano. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, this passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're moving to item 4, C4, tentative reconsideration of resolution, amendment to terms for loan to Ville 1659 LLC, and clarification of housing development loan program. It says that Danny will stay at the table, but maybe not.
I'm staying at the table for this.
Maybe. That's what C4 says, the reconsideration for the loan on Ville A or 1659. I don't know how you say that. Ville.
Are we staying in? We're staying in open session for this. It's safe to talk right now.
Is this, okay, so the Ville thing is next, is that right? And I think one of the options that we had talked to the city attorney is possibility of going into a closed session. My microphone's on, but it doesn't seem to be working. Katie, does that work? Okay. So that means that we would need to have a motion, close the meeting, and then ask anyone who's not here specifically on the legal issue to vacate the room.
I move that we go to closed session for the purpose of advice of counsel, please.
Second.
Second motion by
And real estate, yeah.
So, yeah. Board Member Petro, are you okay with those changes?
I accept it.
Second.
So I have a motion goes by Board Member Petro and a second by Board Member Dugan. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All of those in favor say aye.
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 Board Member Mano.
I said aye.
Board Member Dugan.
Aye.
Board Member Wharton. Petro.
Aye.
Young.
Aye.
All of that is unanimous. So we're gonna go close the meeting right now. I need to
Pardon?
I did vote, sorry.
Yeah.
I vote. I also vote to close.
So you're recessing the open meeting
Yes.
and convening the closed session, right?
And then we're gonna come back to, so if you are tuning in, we're gonna take a little break to discuss this. So we're closing, and I voted to close too. Yes, thank you. No. So we are back off the closed session now, and we are going back to item 6.
C3.
Let's finish. We're gonna C3. Okay, we're gonna clarify that. Okay, let's go to item C3. We need some sort of clarification.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I need to clarify my motion for item C on the perpetual housing fund. When I said that it was to release the fund, I should have said it was approve the resolution and release the funds. So I want to, first I need to make a motion to rescind my previous motion. Is that, no? Clarify. I just need to make a motion to clarify my previous motion and approve the resolution and release the funds for the perpetual housing fund. Okay.
Second.
Okay, so we have the same second. We need to vote on that. Let's call for the vote. Board Member Young.
Aye.
Board Member Petro.
Aye.
Board Member Wharton.
Aye.
Board Member Mano.
Yes.
Board Member Dugan.
Aye.
And I'm a yes, so that passes unanimously with 1 absent. So now that we fixed that screw up from Board Member Dugan, so we're going to go to item C6 on the property acquisition in State Street project area. We need a motion on that. Straw poll, that's correct. For C6. We discussed it a few minutes ago.
How can I not make I can't make a motion without a motion.
The motion to
I make a straw poll that we
regarding
approve the negotiations of the deal in the State Street project area as discussed at the previously.
Second.
Okay.
The board might consider whether or not to put a number on it.
Okay. And I would say that at not to exceed $3.5 million. Yeah, $3.5 million.
Victoria, you okay with that amendment?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion on this item? Okay, we just need to show up or
straw poll.
Straw poll. Okay, all of us are thumbs up with 1 absent. We need a round of shots, espresso shots for all of us. No shots, espresso shots. So we can keep this going. Do we have to do? It's not in mine. I'm in 6.
Yeah.
So
Demata in, right?
Since we're jumping around today, item C4, the tentative reconsideration of resolution, amendment to terms for loan to Bill 1659 LLC and clarification of housing development loan programs.
I move that the board reconsider the motion from July 11th, 2023, adopting the resolution amending the terms for the loan to Bill 1659 and clarifying the Housing Develop Loan Program 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
So there is a motion by Board Member Petro and a second by Board Member Wharton. Any discussion on this item? Okay.
Expressing the intent that you will or will not consider this in a future meeting, and you will or will not add or subtract conditions.
It is absolutely my intent to consider this in a future meeting, adding as many circumstances as possible and offering as many options to the city to ensure that our money is used effectively.
Second.
So I have a motion on the table and a second. I'm going to call the question. Board Member Young?
Yes.
Board Member Petro?
Yes.
Board Member Wharton?
Yes.
Board Member Dugan?
Yes.
Board Member Mano?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. This goes, it's unanimous, 6 with 1 absent. We ended jumping around on the agenda, it feels like. So we're going to item C7, report and announcements from the executive director. There is not. And C8, report and announcement from the RDA staff. So we're cutting out that. Also, C9, report from chair, vice chair, vice chair. There's no written briefings or consent, so we are adjourned. What time will the chair of the council and vice chair decide to come back?
Is 10 minutes enough for you all? Let's take a 10-minute. Come back at quarter of.
Quarter off, okay. Thank you.